All right, I'm now.
Shalom Uvracha. This evening we study Parshat Vayishlach, the Torah section of this week. Wherein I feel that we have a very significant message about the nature of treating converts in our tradition. We are told in this week's parasha about the birth of perhaps the arch enemy of the Jewish people, whose name is
Amalek.
Amalek is referred to in our Torah section in the 36th chapter of Genesis. Timnah is a concubine. Timnah hayta pilegesh le'Elifaz ben Esav. Timnah is the concubine of Esav's son Eliphaz. Vateled le'Eliphaz et Amalek, and she's the mother of Amalek. Now, there's a vast literature in our tradition about Amalek, but surely to study the origin of Amalek, as is expressed in our Torah section, we have a long list at the end of the parasha. Anyone will study the 36th chapter, we'll see a very detailed list of the family members of Esau. So, if we understand something about the nature of the birth of Amalek, maybe we can avoid future encounters with such difficulties. The rabbis teach, why is it that Timnah became the concubine of Eliphaz, and how is it that she was the one who birthed Amalek? The rabbis teach, there's a discussion about this in Tractate Sanhedrin, where they claim that this woman, Timnah, applied for conversion. She sought to convert to Judaism, and she spoke to the three giants of our history, the three greatest leaders, the three fathers of our nation. As you know, there was a time period where Abraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov were all alive at the same time. Their lives overlapped. But there are very few people described in rabbinic literature who actually went to each one. If we take the reading of the Talmud literally, Sanhedrin 99b, Bata etzel Abraham, Yitzhak, Yaakov. She approached Abraham, she approached Isaac, and she approached Jacob. She wanted to convert. She wanted to be part of the Abrahamic family. V'lo kibbeluha, and they rejected her. They rejected Timnah. Perhaps a mnemonic for remembering this teaching is that the word Timnah in Hebrew means anyone? To what?
To prevent.
To prevent, right? To stop, right? Timnah. She was prevented from entering the Abrahamic family. There's no reason to state it in the Talmud. Perhaps one could suggest that if ultimately she was the mother of Amalek, then maybe they saw certain tendencies or trends or problematic aspects of her being, and they didn't accept her. Says the Gemara, well, if she can't be a full-fledged member of the Abrahamic family, so she'll still be connected, somehow. Or if she can't be a wife, Halchav hayta pilegesh le'Elifaz ben Esav. She said she prefers to even be a concubine in this family, even if it means just marrying in through the other side of the family to Eliphaz ben Esav. And she is the one, nafak mina Amalek, and from her was born Amalek. Amalek stemmed from Timnah. Tza'arinhu Yisrael. Who caused such suffering to the Jewish people? Amalek. Asks the Gemara, how is it? Why? What was there something that caused the birth of Amalek? My ta'ama. Why did this happen? That perhaps there was some level of error in judgment. Maybe they pushed her away too far. They shouldn't have distanced her so much. And as a result of the fact that they rejected her, Rashi says, they should have accepted her. Now we are talking about a criticism or critique of the greatest minds, of the greatest spiritual giants. This means that, if I'm reading it correctly, this means that sometimes, although Jewish tradition is ever so sensitive to checking the true credentials, spiritual credentials of any potential convert, there are unfortunately people who attempt to convert, who have absolutely no interest in Judaism, but doing it for all kinds of other reasons. And therefore there's a whole system to screen converts. But one has to be extremely careful that in the process of screening, one does not push away the people who can ultimately, have joined. And who knows what Timnah could have brought the world if she would have been accepted. In the book of Ruth, which is the classical story of convert, there are several attempts. If you remember the story, how Naomi, the mother-in-law of Arpah, the mother-in-law of Ruth, the Moabite women, when she's going back to Israel, and they seemingly want to go with her, so there are several attempts at trying to discourage them from joining her. Vatomer Naomi, chapter 1 of Ruth, Naomi says to her two daughters-in-law, Lech nashovna, Isha levetima, go home, go back to your families. Don't join me. The rabbi suggests, well, maybe she's trying to see, are they sincere in their interest in joining? And they say, no, we're going with you. Ki itach nashuv la'amech. We will join you. We're going with your family. We're going to your nation. And again she repeats it. Vatomer Naomi, shovna benotai. Return, my daughters. Lama telach le'imi. Why are you going with me? Again, next sentence. That's sentence 11. Again in sentence 12. Shovna benotai. Leave. Go home, my daughters. And
really come home.
As a result of this, one of the daughters-in-law really leaves. Arpah leaves. And Ruth says, don't request this of me anymore. Because wherever you go, I will go. Wherever you will be, I will be. Where your God is my God. Where you die, I will die. Where you will be buried, I will be buried. And then the verse reads, and from this the Talmud teaches, that you have to stop at a certain point. There's a limit to how much you can push someone away. Vatere ki mitametzeti lalechet itah. When Naomi saw how sincere Ruth was in trying to become part of this, of the nation, vatehdal l'daber eleha. She stopped talking about the issue. In other words, there's a certain point in the language of the Gemara, ein marbim alav, ein medaktikim alav. You can't go beyond a certain point. According to one reading of our text, that was perhaps a misjudgment of Avraham or Yitzchak or Yaakov. How exactly these great giants, great luminaries erred is not so clear. But there is a mitzvah in the Torah of loving converts. There is a mitzvah in the Torah. Now, Avraham, there's almost no one in the whole world who was as involved in helping people convert. Avraham megayer et ha'anashim ve'et ha'nefesh asher asu b'Charan, all of the souls that they had made in Haran. Which souls? The rabbis asked. When they came from Haran to Canaan, when they came to Israel, Abraham and Sarah, says, and they took the souls that they made in Haran. They didn't have any children. What souls were they making in Haran? Which souls were they molding in Haran? Avraham megayeret ha'anashim, Sarah megayeret ha'tanashim. Avraham was instructing and teaching the men, and Sarah was instructing and teaching the women, and they ultimately formed meaningful relationship to the point of conversion to these great teachings of many men and many women. But there was something about Timnah which didn't go so perfectly correct. The Jewish people suffered from Amalek, perhaps because there was another way. And the other way would have been, in the language of the Gemara, is part of the mitzvah of loving the convert, at a certain point also helping the convert convert. In other words, we understand that if they have already converted, surely you have to love them. If they have already converted, surely you have to extend assistance to them. Is there a point where someone says, I'm really sincere, I'm trying, please help me, please go with me, please hold my hand, please attest to my sincerity? Is there a point where we say, no, we keep pushing people away? Or do we say, no, Timnah? Timnah is an example. Timnah, we have to have the model of Timnah in our minds. We have to be careful about who we accept, but we have to be careful about making sure that in our process of being careful that we're not too careful. Because sometimes when you're overly careful, you can be pushing away, and you could be causing some of the greatest problems to the Jewish people. Only the greatest minds in the world, I think it's important to speak about the greatness of Abraham, the greatness of Isaac, and the greatness of Jacob. And if there's any criticism implied, I surely that's not what I meant. I just was trying to read the Talmudic text. But I do hope that as a result of our study, maybe we should pray for all of the rabbinical judges and all of the rabbinical courts, that each time a convert, a potential convert, seeks to convert, that they should really be able to see the sincerity of the people. They should be able to screen, and they should be able to discern between someone who's really sincere and who's not sincere. And at a certain point, when it's clear, that at a certain point they have to stop, and instead of pushing, begin embracing. May God teach us the proper ways of loving all converts, because as you know, the convert is the ultimate pathway to the Messiah. Our tradition teaches that it's a descendant of the great convert Ruth that will bring the Mashiach. May we experience the great redemption from the descendant of the great convert this very evening. Thank you so much for listening.
Do you want to have a Mara before?
Thank you.
Is it okay?
No.
We have a minyan? Oh, we're missing.
I think Yoshua's in back. Yeah,
We have a minyan, right? Is Yoshua here?
Hey, everybody up.
Yoshua, we have some food. Just give us a few minutes after.